my dad taught me to garden when I was younger and would have me out helping him. But then as I got older, I took an environmental science class and started realizing sort of the state of affairs with our resources and pollution issues in the world, and got really interested in self-sufficiency. So it's kind of been in my intention ever since then, since I was about 19, to try to be as self-sufficient as I could be, grow as much of my own food. So organic is the way to go as far as sustainability is concerned, because you aren't putting in any chemicals and you're protecting your water and air supplies. Not putting any chemical inputs in, and so we use like mineral and animal nutrients like manure and composted food scraps. Well, in Indiana we have like a really wide variety of things. So this summer we're growing green peppers, eggplant, spinach, lettuce, tomatoes, watermelon, lettuce, herbs, flowers, carrots, beets, radishes, turnips, broccoli, cabbages. That's all that comes to mind, but there's a good handful of other things. Well, as far as the amount of space, that really varies with what you can do. You know, you could, if you live in an apartment, you could have like a pot garden just with tomatoes growing in coffee pots in your front porch. But the ground you want to look for is sort of the loamier the better, and so you want a sort of darker soil. You don't want too much clay, you don't want too much sand. But if you're somewhere without a good enough soil to start with, then you can always build it up by adding vegetable scraps, animal manure, letting it biodegrade and work it in. As far as the amount of space, yeah, it really can, the things you want to grow affect the amount of space you're going to need. So tomatoes grow vertically, so you don't need as much space, but we're growing watermelon, so I feel blessed to be here because there's enough space where they can kind of vine out. So other root crops tend to take less space, like carrots, you know, grow vertically and go down. So it just kind of depends what space you're looking at to organize the best thing for you. This season I ordered them from a company called Rich Garden Supply. It was the only heritage seed company in Indiana that I could find that I could order everything I needed. And so, but I plan on saving seed this season, so once the plants, some of them I'll let develop all the way, I won't harvest them, and then I can harvest my own seeds and use those in the years to come. We have some spinach and lettuce that's ready to eat. Squash and beans will be at least another month and a half or so, but I would say within a few weeks. I'm a bit behind the curve, but I just started this year, so I've been spending a lot more time digging the gardens than I have been able to get things right in as early as possible. These are corn beans and squash grown together as the Native Americans discovered through thousands of years of experimentation. And the reason that those three are grown well together is because it's space efficient, but it also is efficient for the nutrients involved. The corn grows vertically, and we plant beans that come along in the same row as the corn. And then the beans will grow up the corn, pole beans. And squash off to the side will be able to vine out along the ground and provide ground cover and protect soil and water. And the beans fix nitrogen, and so corn is a heavy nitrogen feeder, and so by growing them in the same spot, it keeps everything sort of in equilibrium. The corns use the bean essentially as natural fertilizer. That's what the Native Americans found could be grown well in the same spot. It also forms a complete protein. So if you grow, not sweet corn, but if you're growing flour corn, you can essentially survive off corn, beans, and squash. So they work together on a number of different levels. We have watermelons growing here. Watermelon's my favorite food. It's obviously not something that we're going to be able to survive off of, but it's important, you know, to be a happy and healthy gardener. So we've got a lot of watermelon transplants all around in this curve, and there's more started inside. And the way I prepared these garden beds is a process called double digging. And what you do is you remove the soil, you scrape off the topsoil, the sod, the grass that was there. Not the topsoil, I misspoke, but, and then you dig down about a shovel's worth deep. And what I've been doing is picking out the larger rocks, and when you take the soil out like that, it's helping aerate it, and it's helping break up any plant diseases that might have occurred. And then after the trench is dug, you take a pitchfork, you loosen up the soil underneath it so the roots have somewhere down to go. And then you take the pile of dirt from a separate bed that you had dug out and you put it in there. And so then the soil's nice and broke up. It's essentially a way that you don't have to use a garden tiller. You don't have to use any fossil fuels to do it. You don't have to get a big tractor. I'm really interested in doing things by hand and spending as little money as possible for environmental as well as, you know, what's the word? Economic reasons. Right here we have some mustard greens coming up. It's one of our first vegetables producing, so we've been eating quite a bit of those. They're spicy, they're good raw, they're good in stir fries. We have radishes coming down the middle, so with root crops you can often interplant them with leafier things to spread out more, because since the majority of the plants growing underground, then you can economize on your space efficiently that way. Over to the right we have some peas producing. Got our first one being picked as we speak. And peas need a trellis to grow up generally, so we've put up these sort of makeshift trellises. And you can see the rocks that I've been digging out of the soil when I've been double digging, trying to find something to do with them. So we're creating this little border, try to protect a little of the ground and soil, keep the temperature down around there. I'm Ruben Ryan. Thanks for visiting my garden today. If you have any questions or would like a tour of the farm sometime, feel free to email me at rubenryan@live.com, RUBENRYAN. Thank you.